When Norman first came home, Bubba had no idea what to make of him. My 10-pound orange cat had never lived with a dog before, and Norman was a 90-pound Rottweiler who looked enormous beside him. I expected their introduction to take time, but I never expected the little cat to eventually be the one pinning the giant dog to the floor. We knew from the beginning that we couldn't simply put them together and hope everything worked out. Bubba had never been around a dog, so Norman was completely new to him. From Bubba's perspective, this huge animal had suddenly appeared in his home, and he wasn't sure whether Norman was someone he could trust. At first, Bubba kept his distance and watched him carefully. Norman could be lying quietly nearby, and Bubba would slowly approach while trying to understand what this strange new animal was doing in his space. He was curious enough to investigate, but still nervous enough to retreat whenever he got too close. Sometimes Bubba would approach Norman while he was sleeping. That was probably the easiest time for him to investigate because Norman wasn't moving around. Bubba would creep closer, sniff him carefully, and then suddenly jump backward as if he had gotten too close. He clearly wanted to know more about Norman, but he wasn't ready to completely trust him yet. I tried not to rush either of them. I wanted Bubba to learn that Norman wasn't something he needed to fear, while also giving both animals enough time to become comfortable with each other. The goal wasn't to force them to become friends. I simply wanted them to be able to share the same home peacefully. One thing that helped was play. I brought out a cat toy and started using it in a way that allowed both of them to participate. Instead of focusing entirely on each other, they could focus on something fun. That seemed to change things for Bubba. It was almost as though he suddenly realized Norman wasn't just a giant animal living in the house. He could actually be a playmate. Then one day, I was walking around the house, looking for Norman. A 90-pound Rottweiler isn't exactly easy to lose, but somehow I couldn't find him anywhere. Eventually, I went into our room and looked inside his kennel. Norman was there, and Bubba was sleeping right beside him. Seeing them together like that was the moment everything clicked for me. Bubba had gone from cautiously sniffing Norman while he slept and jumping backward to willingly curling up beside him. I remember looking at them and thinking that this was it. These two were going to be best friends for life. After that, their friendship became impossible to miss. They loved playing together and chasing each other around. The size difference should have made their games look completely ridiculous, and sometimes it did, but neither of them seemed concerned about it. Bubba treated Norman like another animal his own size. In fact, Bubba often acts as though he's the bigger one. He He has developed a particular routine that still makes me laugh. He waits until Norman has finally calmed down and fallen asleep. Once Norman is completely relaxed, Bubba sneaks toward him and launches his attack. Before long, my 10-pound cat is fully on top of my 90-pound Rottweiler. Bubba will pin him down and start biting around his neck as though he's a tiny lion bringing down enormous prey. Watching it happen is hilarious because the difference between them is so dramatic. Norman looks like the animal who should obviously be in control, but Bubba doesn't seem to have received that information. What makes it even better is how comfortable Norman is with the whole thing. Their play comes from the trust they've built with each other. The same cat who once jumped backward after cautiously sniffing this giant dog now feels completely safe climbing all over him. Their friendship also changed the way I think people see Norman. Rottweilers can have a reputation for being big, intimidating dogs, and sometimes people make assumptions before they know the individual animal. Norman certainly looks powerful, especially standing next to a small orange cat. Then you see him with Bubba. You see this huge Rottweiler snuggling with a little cat, sleeping beside him, chasing him around the house, and calmly allowing Bubba to climb on top of him. Suddenly, the intimidating image disappears, and you get to see Norman's gentle side instead. That's one of the things I love most about sharing their relationship. Bubba doesn't look at Norman and see a big, scary Rottweiler. He sees his friend. Their size difference and the stereotypes people might have about them mean absolutely nothing inside our home. Bubba had always needed companionship, and I think Norman filled a space in his life that had been missing. Once their friendship really developed, Bubba seemed happier and more fulfilled. He had someone to play with, someone to chase, someone to sleep beside, and apparently someone large enough to practice his hunting skills on. We gave them time, introduced them slowly, and allowed the relationship to develop without forcing it. Eventually, curiosity became comfort, comfort became trust, and trust turned into a friendship stronger than anything I expected when Norman first walked through the door. Watching them together still makes me smile because their friendship is such an unlikely combination. One is a huge Rottweiler and the other is a small orange cat, but somehow they fit together perfectly. I feel incredibly lucky to witness the bond Bubba and Norman have formed. Relationships like theirs don't happen every day, and seeing how far they've come from that nervous first introduction makes it even more special. To me, they really are best friends for life. If you enjoyed this story about Bubba and Norman, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss even more touching stories.